to the Pat Mayo Experience Week 5 Waiver Wire Power Rankings. We'll go position by position, cover who you need to pick up, all the major injuries from the NFL over the weekend, plus some running back snap counts, and a recap of the week a little bit later on. We'll get some Curb Your Enthusiasm season premiere from last night. That's going to be awesome, because it was awesome. I mean, I don't even know if it was awesome or not. I just enjoyed having it back in my life so much. I really enjoyed it. You probably did too. People enjoy Curb. Anyway, the guest on the show today, as he is around every Monday, he is a doctor. He is in session. He's got a prescription for you. Insane takes. It's Tim Anderson.
Tim Anderson.
That is not my name.
Do you have insane takes?
No, I'm just lamping around.
You're lamping?
Yeah, just lamping right now.
There's no G on the end of that.
No, there's no G.
All right, so I actually want to start with, usually we start with like nonsense and recap. We'll get to the recap in a second and things that you cursed over the weekend. Despite it being a great weekend for you overall and the things that you root for, we got to get right into running backs to begin with because there's actual like legit news about this. Because
Sure
Dalvin Cook is basically done for the year. He has an MRI today, but they say tore his ACL, and I'm not.
Guy.
Yeah, that sucks. You said that he was going to be great after seeing him, didn't you?
The second Vikings RB that's been struck down this year. I feel very bad for them.
Who was the other one?
Bishop Sankey in the preseason.
Yeah, I don't think he was going to make the team either way.
He would be starting for that team right now if he was healthy.
Well, I don't know about that. Well, Jerick McKinnon injured his ankle yesterday as well, but that's not believed to be too serious. So at the top of the Week 5 Waiver Wire Power Rankings at running back, I actually put Latavius Murray, which puts me in a conundrum because Latavius Murray's not very good. However, you think that the Vikings are going to be a good team, and this hinges really, I think, on what you think of Minnesota this season. If they're a team that you think can be up in games, Latavius Murray's going to back his way into 15 to 20 carries, and that's sort of what he is. He's going to average like 3.4 yards per carry. He's going to carry the ball 15 to 20 times. He's going to get all the goal line work, almost like he did in Oakland, where he wasn't very good, but through attrition, he just kept piling up. He's sort of like the new school Frank Gore. He doesn't really get hurt. He plays all the time, gets a lot of volume, and eventually he's going to be fine. He'll be a mid-tier, low-end running back 2 in standard leagues. He'll be slightly worse than that in PPR formats because Jerick will still probably come in and be the pass-catching back. But, I mean, it's hard to find this sort of volume off the waiver wire. I think you got to go for it. What about you?
Yeah, I think I agree with most of that. I think, unfortunately, McKinnon will take maybe a slightly bigger bite out of Murray than maybe you were suggesting. But nevertheless, Murray is at worst a 60% full-time running back on a team that, as soon as they get Bradford back, I think they'll be fine. They're treading water with Case Keenum, who's terrible. Once they get Bradford back, who's decent, I think they'll be okay. They will be up in some games, many games. So I think I buy pretty much everything you've said there.
I think there's going to be game flow situations where Latavius Murray gets written out of the script a little bit, almost a lot like Chris Johnson did yesterday, or even Alex Collins for the Ravens. After they got down, he just wasn't in the game. If they're going to have to pass all the time, then you're right. There's going to be opportunities for Jerick to come in and establish himself there, especially if he comes back next week. But if Murray proves himself to be okay, then this is his job, as long as he stays healthy, I think.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they did sign him in the offseason before they got Cook, assuming that Murray would be present.
Yeah. So, yeah, guys, Cook came in and looked a lot better, and that was the end of that. But, I don't know. It's a difficult situation because a lot of people lost running backs yesterday. So, Cook goes down, Jerick gets hurt. What else happened? Oh, Chris Carson. Basically, I guess there's no word yet on what happened to his ankle.
Oh, but they had an air cast on his leg.
Yeah.
I don't think he's coming back anytime soon.
McKinnon
looked great, so...
I mean, McKinnon only played 10 snaps.
But he looked electric. If Procise isn't active next week, he's the Seattle running back you need.
Yeah, well, I haven't added any of the Seattle running backs to the waiver wire pickups yet because I was still trying to digest what's happening. I want to hear about Carson's knee a little bit and maybe what they're saying because, I mean, the reason that Eddie Lacy got so many carries in that game because he was the only other active running back. Like, Rawls was the healthy scratch before the game. So
yeah, it led to my favorite moment last night where McKinnon made this beautiful run for a touchdown, and Michaels went, "Oh, Lacy runs for..." Oh, wait, that's not Lacy. I was like, Al, Lacy can't move like that.
Yeah, Lacy's not going over. Well, Eli Manning rushed one in, too, and I think the NFL put out his top speed was like 14 miles per hour. I don't even think Lacy's getting to that at this point.
No, again, Lacy doesn't... Even with an injury to Carson, Lacy is unownable. Do not own him.
Yeah, I think he kind of falls in like that Adrian Peterson situation where he's just not good.
Oh, yeah, he is totally unownable.
So, like, yes, he might get a shot at volume, and this is almost a case against Latavius Murray, too, because we know he's not very good either, but I guess he's a bit more... What's that?
But Jerick McKinnon's no good either.
Yeah, well, who do you think ends up starting then? Let's say Carson's done for the year. There's rumors that he might be able to return later in the season. Let's not worry about that. That's really not of concern to us right now. So you have Lacey, you have Rawls, you have Proscites, who's dealing with an ankle injury, who missed this week, and he was declared like week to week. Although he wasn't officially declared out for this game until later on. He was doubtful, so I guess there was still an outside chance that he would play. I don't know if he goes week 5, but let's say we throw him back into the mix, and then you have McKissick as well. I would think that Rawls ends up being the guy. Because, I mean, they were going with him anyway until Carson stole his job, and then all of a sudden he's a healthy scratch. Like, hey, let's just keep this guy healthy. Like, when it was a situation where he was going to play, he was active, and Lacey was the healthy scratch. Like, this is going to be a really tough situation to kind of pick and choose. Like, you're going to kind of have to get lucky. Lucky, like Brendan Grace. But I think it's going to be Lacey or Rawls that is the primary ball carrier between the tackles.
It is not going to be Lacey, so it will be Rawls.
So then Rawls is the play. So if in these rankings right now of the waiver wire, I go Latavius Murray, Wendell Smallwood, Tariq Cohen, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, Jerick McKinnon, Buck Allen, Alex Collins, Wayne Gallman, and Andre Ellington. That's my top 10. Where do you think Thomas Rawls should fit into that list?
Let's see.
Is he number 2?
No, he's not number 2. He's not number 3 or 4. Well, Kamara's too low. Kamara should probably be 2.
I mean, I think we're putting a whole lot of stock into Kamara catching 10 passes in one game.
Yeah, but also AP's no good.
Yeah, but AP was never a deterrent for him anyway. AP is hurting Ingram more than anyone. He's not hurting Kamara.
I get you, but we also know Mark Ingram is terrible.
This is true.
So I'm buying all the Kamara stock I can get. I like the kid. I guess I'd have him at 5. Ahead of Aaron Jones. We just don't know about Aaron Jones, right?
Well, the big thing with Aaron Jones, the reason that he's as high on this list, he's not going to be like a full season pickup. Ty Montgomery got hurt in the Thursday nighter. He's dealing with a rib problem. Initially, it was revealed to be a broken rib. Turns out, not the case. And he might actually play in week 5. Then you have Jamal Williams. They were like, oh, he's like month to month with a knee problem. Turns out, he's like
Jamal
fine.
Williams is, again, remember next year when you draft, don't ever draft handcuffs. We've again and again and again, people draft handcuffs every year. It's statistically indefensible. Don't do it. Jamal Williams proves once again, don't ever do it.
Yeah, he got hurt. What do you want him to do? The whole point is someone to get hurt. It's very unlikely that
draft handcuffs. There's no good reason to draft handcuffs.
Oh, I see. I think you should still own like Donta Foreman and James Conner and even Mike Tolbert at this point.
No. Mike Tolbert, you do not want to own.
Why? He could back his way into 30 touches if Shady ever gets hurt.
Yeah, but he's just going to drop the ball across the goal line every time.
I don't think he's going to do it every time. And listen, if he's getting all that work in the goal line, eventually he'll bumble his way in. Anyway, the Aaron Jones thing is a hedge in case these guys don't play this week, and then he gets Dallas, and all of a sudden you have like a top 10 running back just based on the matchup and the offense that he's in for 1 week. And that's basically all it is. But if both the other guys are back, he's pretty useless.
I like Gallman quite a bit.
Well, is he too, like, put it this way. Perkins was out. He left with a rib injury. Orleans Darkwa didn't play in this game with a back injury. Both these guys are probably going to be healthy by next week. I like taking a shot on him because I think he's the first he's the first Giants running back since Tiki Barber to average over 2 yards per carry in a game. But it's still the Giants' offense. It's not very good. He could be okay. I think he's worth taking a shot on. What are you going to do, burn a waiver priority on him? Like, this guy has the makings of someone you drop next week because he's inactive.
Maybe. I mean, I'm basing this completely on what I saw yesterday and sort of the way he's being used and how he looked on the field. I thought he was kind of impressive.
Well, he had to be used because there was no one else to use.
I mean, the Giants' last great running back was probably Brandon Jacobs, right?
Who was not great whatsoever. He was terrible.
No, but he was an effective runner. A very effective runner.
No, he wasn't.
In his prime, remember him? He used to plow people over.
Yeah, and they used to use him near the goal line. He could never get in because he was too big.
Yeah, well. I like Gallman a little bit, but I don't like him better than Alec. I don't want anything to do with Chris Johnson.
Why? You love Chris Johnson.
And I played him in my terrible fantasy league this week.
And
he got 6 points. I don't want that. I don't need that.
Well, I don't think that Andre Ellington's going to end up with 14 targets every week either.
He's the Duke.
He's not the Duke. The Duke is actually good.
I actually like Andre Ellington quite a bit more. So
okay, so you be going like, how far up would you move Andre Ellington? I think he has a decent PPR floor, but like, what do you really expect from this guy?
I don't know if I can move him up much higher, just because I like the guys above him more. But I like him. Like I like several of these backs on this list And then I have no faith in Wendell Smallwood. I think we saw yesterday Blunt is the RB you want for the most part.
No. I highly disagree with that. Like, even just bringing up the snap count right now, Blunt was very effective yesterday, but the problem with Blunt is he's not effective every single week. When he's running the ball well, he'll get the ball. But the weird thing about him is they're going to have to change up what they do on offense a little bit. At least Doug Peterson needs to realize this, because Blunt touched the ball like 20 times yesterday, something like that.
I don't mind that, though, to be honest.
But do you know how many snaps Blunt played?
I don't, actually.
26. So every time he's on the field, the defense can just kind of figure out he's touching the ball. Like that's a terrible idea. So Smallwood played 35 snaps, looked as effective. I mean, Blunt got stuffed on the goal line a bunch, and then they brought in Smallwood, and he walked it right in. So I think if you're going to look for volume, project out, and deal with the passing game, Smallwood is definitely the guy to have. I don't know if he's fantastic by any means, but I think...
Did you ask me, do I like him? Do I like Cohen better? Yes. Do I like Kamara better?
Yes. I'm starting to worry about Cohen here. Like, now that Benny Cunningham's back in the fold, that eats away at what Cohen does.
I think that was just the Packers are up by a ton of points, and it teaches us nothing. I refuse to accept that as meaningful yet.
Why? He's on the field. He's getting snaps. And they weren't all... It's not like all Cunningham snaps were at the end of the game. He was coming in the first quarter, the second quarter.
That game was out of hand once it got to 14-0.
And then they started using Cohen.
Cohen got in on the last drive of the game. I'm not worried about Benny Cunningham yet. Maybe I will be in a couple of weeks. I'm not now. I consider that to be inconsequential.
See, after you curse Tariq Cohen, he's been terrible.
He hasn't been terrible.
And then you told me that my backfield of Cohen and Chris Carson in my keeper league was looking great for years to come. You told me it was excellent. Chris Carson's great. Now look what happened.
I take no responsibility.
Your fault. You killed a lot of people yesterday, by the way.
I mean, we have another friend in our league who had David Johnson and Dalvin Cook as his running backs.
Yeah, how does he feel about you right now?
Well, I said I would trade him Jerick McKinnon. He told me to get bent.
You should get bent. That'd be much better for you. Kamara. I like the upside of Kamara. Maybe he is too. Like, would you rather have Kamara than Cohen?
Yes.
Really?
In a vacuum. Just New Orleans' offense has more opportunities. Just in terms of volume, I just trust their offense a little more.
You might be right about that. I might end up moving him up one over Cohen, and you rather have, I don't know, I would rather have Smallwood, most definitely, than rather have Alvin Kamara right now, just because of the potential.
I guess maybe I'm being too critical with Smallwood. Just I like those guys more. That's all. I would take Smallwood ahead of Jones. So
yeah, but I've already explained to you, Jones is only there in case he starts this week.
Yeah, and he probably will.
Yeah, and if he does, then he's a must play. Yeah, I think you play every running back against Dallas at this point.
Well, I mean, they went up against what is probably the best back in football this week, so we'll see.
All right, their defense doesn't look very good.
Their defense has some problems, although they shut down the Giants in week 1, but the Giants were not very good.
I mean, if they had used Wayne Gallman, then they would have been unstoppable.
Perhaps so.
So the other guys on that list, like I mentioned, Darkwa and Perkins could come back, and I guess I have to insert Rawls onto this list too. So yeah, we're sort of in. And listen, if more information comes out, just go to dkplaybook.com and check out the updated rankings. I'll update after the Monday Nighter once we get more news about injuries. Maybe the Seahawks will come out and say something, be like, "Hey, Eddie Lacy's our guy," and then to pick up Rawls because that's all just misdirection. And if ProSites comes back, I think ProSites would be the best one on the team.
Yeah, oh no, I totally agree with you on that. People can just tweet at me and I'll give them my thoughts.
Oh, yeah, great, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, if you tell them one thing, people just do the opposite and they'll be right.
You are right about ProSice being the best back, but ProSice is not the same type of player that Rawls is. I mean, they would figure to be a running, passing sort of split. So, I mean, a PPR, I'd want ProSice more. In a standard, I would certainly want Rawls more.
Yeah, I mean, most definitely Rawls in a standard, and Rawls might even carry a little bit more value in a PPR too, just because he's going
I still think McKissick has value.
Put it this way, McKissick has zero value if ProSites is active. But
ProSites doesn't stay active a lot.
Sure, so what are you going to do? So you don't want to draft a handcuff because it's a terrible idea, but you're gonna hold on to a handcuff who's on the practice squad when one guy's
I'm not recommending that. I'm just saying have him on your watch list. Keep your eyes open for him. In a couple of weeks, there's a non-zero chance he could be a very important player in fantasy.
Sure, you're right. There's a non-zero chance that could be true, but there's a much higher chance that CJ ProSites is going to be an impact player in fantasy.
I agree with you. I'm on your side.
All right, so Donta Foreman and James Conner started getting some extra run. Now, everyone got run in that Texans game because they got up by so much. But Conner started, I think he played 6 snaps, touched the ball 5 times for the Steelers, which is significantly, I don't want to say it's significantly eating into Bell's production. It's not. Maybe this, usually Bell plays 100% of snaps. It's just weird to see someone else on the field. It's nice that we know that he is the official backup to Le'Veon Bell, that if anything was to happen, he would probably end up playing 90% of the snaps.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know if they could give him the same type of run they gave Bell, so I actually don't think we can make that statement that he would be on 90% of the snaps. But he would be the next man up, so to speak. I think Bell gets so many snaps because he's Le'Veon Bell. It's not the style of the offense, so we'll see.
And I really have nothing else. So, yeah, we have to insert Rawls in. I probably put him, would you go Smallwood or Rawls? I think I would go with the safety of Smallwood.
No, I think I'm going to take Rawls if I know
you hate Wendell Smallwood.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Sorry, don't believe in him.
So I might have to move Smallwood up to number 1 now that you hate him so much.
Yeah, again, I'm not feeling the guy. Sorry.
All right, so I like Smallwood more. I'm going to move Kamara 1 spot ahead of Cohen now that Cohen is too Andercursed. Now that he's less Andercursed, maybe he'll be good again.
I'm still all in on Cohen.
What's that? How could you be all in on Cohen and think that Kamara is better?
Because I'm even more all in on Kamara.
Oh, man, bad news for Kamara. The guy's going to have a skin failure next week and be out for his career.
They're on bye next week.
Oh, he's going to suffer from a case of bonus eruptus.
Where the skeleton tries to leap out the mouth.
And leave the body. Exactly. That's going to be rough news for Alvin Kamara. So hopefully, because of the bye week, there are 4 teams on bye next week. It's Atlanta, Denver, New Orleans, and Washington. So hopefully that doesn't make him a priority pickup. Although I think that he's owned in any league that really matters. I mean, if you're... let's say we're talking from a standard perspective here. My rankings are PPR. He has significantly less value in that format.
Yeah, but he's the only good running back in New Orleans, so he still has some value.
I'm sure he has a little bit of value, but he's a guy that doesn't get goal line touches and only does damage through the passing game.
Yeah, no, that's right. He has less value, but he's still a low-end RB2 flex play for me.
He'd be for you, in reality, he'd just be a flex play for a guy that touches the ball 10 times a game.
I like to think I live in reality.
You really don't.
Now I know
you really don't know. You were talking to me before we came on about how people know about faulty towers.
Some people do.
Some people do. You tried to claim that it was just stuff people knew. You probably go around quoting faulty towers and are upset people don't get your references.
As a maven of the popular culture, if I know about something, there's a good chance that many other people do too.
I'm pretty sure you were a maven of popular culture in 1978. So anything that happened before you were born, I feel like you can probably talk about with people of that age group. Anyone in your current age group, not a chance. So Murray, Smallwood, Rawls, Kamara, Cohen. The only other situation I really wanted to talk about was the Buck Allen, Alex Collins situation. I got proactive on Sunday morning when I heard the news that Alex Collins was going to be the starter and see more reps. That just I cut the worst guy on my roster. Picked up Alex Collins. Didn't play him. I just want to see what would happen. And he morphed into, he's past Terrence West. Terrence West could be out of a job pretty soon. But where the Ravens got down in this game, Buck Allen once again. It took a while to get there for Buck Allen because he got no touches in the first half, and he ended up with 6 receptions. The guy is the bottom of the barrel, high floor PPR running back too. It's hilarious. You don't ever want to watch these Ravens games because they're really frustrating to see how poor this offense is. But it seems like he backs his way into almost 10 points every single week, and that's not something you can say for everyone. Collins actually seems like he has a bit of upside. Seattle's probably kind of upset they let him go at this point. Now they need running backs so desperately. But is he, I think he's definitely worth owning, but is he a priority ad for you?
Javoris Allen, you mean?
No. I have Buck Allen ahead of Alex Collins right now because these are PPR rankings. If it was standard, I would go Collins over Buck Allen.
I suppose if they're going to give Collins the traditional running responsibilities, I suppose I like him better, but I think it's close, and I can make the case for Javoris Allen.
Well, I think the case for Javoris Allen is that the Ravens are terrible, and they're always going to be losing.
That was my case.
And if that's the case, then, even when we look at the snap counts from yesterday for Baltimore, Buck Allen played 40 snaps. Collins only played 17. So And that's going to be indicative of almost like this Jerick McKinnon, Latavius Murray situation of when they're losing, one guy is definitely going to play. When they're winning, the other guy is going to be on the field. So if you feel like you have a gauge of how some of these games are going to go, maybe just look at the spread. See who's an underdog, or if it's going to be a close game, the passing back's probably in. If it's a very high spread for one team, then play the rushing running back. And I just don't feel like Baltimore, outside of playing Cleveland and Cincinnati, is going to be in that spot all that often.
Yeah, that's fair.
But he's, out of all the guys that we're talking about right now, he's probably the least owned out of all of them.
Oh, totally. I mean, until yesterday, 97% of people didn't know who his name was.
So would you pick up Alex Collins or Wayne Gallman?
Gallman.
Even knowing, like, it looks like Collins has this job. We don't know what's going on with Gallman.
I believe in this Gallman kid. I think the Giants need to really make some radical changes to the way their offense is being constructed so that they don't, like, lose every game. So I think Gallman's going to be a far more important part of the team, particularly with, Beckham dislocated his finger. He came back, but that's not an unimportant thing to happen to a receiver, to dislocate a finger. I just think take some of the pressure off him, to take some of the pressure off Eli, that Gallman could be quite important.
I'm inclined to agree only because the other two guys are so terrible, and we have a sample of them being bad now.
Yeah, they're not going to be unbad.
But it's the Giants. It's Ben McAdoo. They may be like, oh, man, Orleans Darkwa is the future. Look at he averages 1 point.
Yeah, it's John Gruden said on Monday night a couple of weeks ago, fan favorite Orleans Darkwa with the ball.
Well, do you think he's a fan favorite because his last name is Darkwa?
No, I don't think he's a fan. I think I tweeted at the time. I said, if you could find 5,000 people at Giant Stadium who knew who Orleans Darkwa was, I would have been shocked.
Well, that's you being out of touch with the people. You know everyone on the Jets.
I don't know everyone on the Jets. I know the most important people on the Jets.
Like your new main man, Travaris Cadet.
Hey, this is not my new main man.
Why? He's like the 4th string running back now.
Yeah, he is. I'm not too upset about the way the Jets have played really all season, but particularly the last 2 weeks.
Okay, well, how about this? Wayne Gallman or Buck Allen?
Oh, I'm going to take Javoris Allen. I know that I'll take a bird in the hand over 2 in the bush.
Oh, okay. Wayne Gallman or Jerick McKinnon?
Oh, Gallman. McKinnon's not good.
But he basically plays the same role, but larger, that Buck Allen's going to play.
He's already dinged up. Pass.
Okay, so I guess this really depends on what you want to do for your team. If you need a running back to start next week,
staff it with good players.
Just like what your strategy is for all these teams, but you do the opposite and just pick up terrible players. So the strategy would become on the waiver wire that if you do not need a running back immediately, like you don't need Aaron Jones because he's probably just a 1 week flash in the pan if he ends up getting the start. Someone like Gallman is interesting to me, just like Collins is, because they have the ability to have a bigger role in their offenses. We just don't know what their role is going to be going forward. If you need, in a PPR league, a running back for next week that can get you 8 to 12 points, Buck Allen is probably the guy that you want to go with in that situation after we get past Latavius Murray's and Thomas Rawls and Wendell Smallwoods and those guys, only because we know sort of what their role is in their offenses. The other guys are more speculation plays. So if you have the luxury of putting these guys on the back end, I don't want people to make the mistake of picking up Wayne Gallman and be like, oh man, I'm playing Wayne Gallman this week. Like, I picked him up off the waiver wire. He must be good. Like, he could legit he could be a healthy scratch next week for all we know.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with everything you've just said.
Okay, so that's the way that I would play the Week 5 waiver wire at running back. Before we get on to the other positions, because they're really less significant this week, running back is where all the damage was kind of done. Let's talk about some of your guys. Good weekend for you. Let's start with the positive for you. Notre Dame wins. You Ander-cursed USC. They lost. The Patriots lose. Jets win. This is great news. Was this the best weekend of your life?
It's not the best weekend of my life, but it's the best sports weekend for me in a long time. Just the confluence of those 3 things, or 4 things really, but the main ones of Notre Dame winning, the Jets winning, and the Patriots losing happens very infrequently for them all to sort of hit at once. You had the USC loss, which is actually kind of disappointing. I actually kind of needed USC to not lose until they met Notre Dame, so that was kind of annoying to some degree.
Well, that's what you get for picking them to win in the national championship.
They still have every opportunity.
Now they're done. No, they're finished.
They don't lose any more games. Particularly, they're going to play really good teams like the Irish, like Stanford down the stretch, and somebody good in the Pac-12 championship. They'll be fine, I think. They still have, in my opinion, still the quarterback I want most of any of them. Though we're not going to get them because playoff teams don't get quarterbacks in the first round. But I think that...
Did you say the Jets are going to be a playoff team?
I said that sort of tongue-in-cheek. I got too fired up yesterday.
You were tweeting out that they were going to the playoffs.
When Powell took his second one to the house, I lost it and tweeted that out. I had taken leave of my senses for a minute. I was just fired up.
You know when I hyped up Bilal Powell in the preseason? That was sort of the Bilal Powell I was thinking of. Not this guy who's like third on the depth chart behind awful Matt Forte and Lizzie McGuire.
Not going to lie, I did not think he was going to break off 2+ 60-yard runs.
Neither did I. And the first one was like such a garbage touchdown.
Why? Because he's aware of what's going on.
Sure, it was a very heads-up play by him. It's a play that just so rarely would ever happen because it did. Even when you watched the replay, unless you looked at it, unless you really went back and reviewed it to see that he wasn't touched, if you were standing on the field, you would have just assumed that's why you played to the whistle, obviously. But like, if you were the safety in that situation, was just standing flat-footed because he thought the play was over, you really would have thought the play was over.
Oh, I did. I started cursing and saying I thought he could have gone for a touchdown before and put my head in my hands where I looked up to see him keep running. So I was guilty of that too.
So yeah,
it was also a great weekend, and then it really put to the sword the whole myth of Jacksonville having a good defense and being a good team. We can sweep them to the side now, which is comfortable to say. It was a great weekend, and all those people on Twitter last week who were just sniping at me and taking pot shots at me about the Patriots and how great they're. How dare you question them being the favorite to win the Super Bowl? They're clearly not good enough to be the favorite to win anything. Barely enough to be the favorite in their own division, for heaven's sake. And yesterday, I made I was sort of poking the bear a little bit, but whatever. I also think it's true when I said that are we allowed to accept the fact that the Patriots, that Bill Belichick made a bad trade by giving away Brissett for Dorsett, who doesn't play and isn't useful?
Well, I mean, but Brissett also doesn't play.
Brissett has been playing the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, but he wasn't ever going to play for the Patriots.
That's not the way to think about trades. It's all about the value of the player.
But that was the value of the player. It's a third-string quarterback.
Maybe they could have got, I don't know.
Nothing. That Philip Dorsett is what they could have got.
Then they should have traded him. He's better than 3 or 4 NFL quarterbacks out there right now. The idea that, he wasn't going to play for the Patriots is such small thinking. It's not meaningful to say that.
He's also not going to play for the Colts in 2 weeks.
He will get paid somewhere else. He will play. He is a player of some value. The Patriots took a player of some value and got no value.
Yeah, but he only has value now retroactively. He had no value when they traded him.
Then the Patriots just simply misdiagnosed.
So what were they supposed to do to increase his value? Bench Tom Brady, play Jacoby Brissett to up his value? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Trade him for a player who can make a tackle or cover somebody. Trade him for somebody to deal with a real need. Not receivers, not their real need. They have the worst defense in the NFL. And if you say, well, he's a third stringer and his value's only increased since he's played, okay, then that means that Belichick misdiagnosed what he was worth as a player to begin with. But we're not allowed to say Belichick.
Yeah, but I don't understand how you think they could have gotten more for what they got.
Since they got nothing for him, by definition, they could have got more.
I mean,
they got a bag of donuts.
If Brady was going to play, let's say Brady plays in the next year, Brissett probably would have been cut.
Then that shows that the Patriots didn't understand.
What are they supposed to do with the guy? Trade him for no one who wants him? Great, thanks.
You hold on to him and trade him later.
Trade him for what? He had no value. It's a really stupid statement. I get what you're getting at, but it makes no sense. It only makes sense in the context of watching him play a few weeks.
Your argument is pure illogic.
No, it's not. Trade him for Odell Beckham. Actually, no, that doesn't make any sense because he's an offensive receiver. Let's not trade Brissett for him. Let's trade him for the best defensive player in football. Let's do that. No one wants the guy. Let's just trade him for the world. Improve our defense.
Have a player of X value. They give him
0. It's not X. It was 0.
No, he obviously has some. We are seeing it. He has some value. The Patriots.
Yeah, we are seeing it now.
We saw it last year when he won a playoff game, a primetime NFL regular season game and was halfway competent. Like, the Patriots gave away a player, and maybe it's not the greatest value because it isn't, but they gave away a player of some value for nothing. The idea of giving away something for nothing and calling that a win because he wasn't going to play is completely anathematic to the concept of trading something for value. It's like, I have 6 running backs on my fantasy football team, so I gave him away for a third-string receiver. Well, he was never going to play for my team anyway. Well, that is you misdiagnosing the value of your player just to get something. It's silly, but of course we're not allowed to say anything critical about Belichick while he continues to man the ship of state of the worst defense in football, and a defense is not going to get better and has got to deal with a track meet on Thursday. But we're not allowed to say anything critical about them. We just have to pretend He really knows what he's doing at every turn, and he can never make a mistake because he's immortal. Well, I'm sorry. I'm doing donuts on his lawn right now, and it makes me feel pretty good.
I mean, you're pretty big on assessing value to a trade after 2 weeks of a trade.
Well, we knew from the jump that Philip Dorsett was no good.
They're trying to have a project at receiver, and then when they made the trade, they were banged up at receiver. They could have used some more people. They had just lost Edelman. Listen, right now, the Colts are winning this trade. I think you're a bit quick to cast judgment on how this is going to work out. How valuable is this trade going to be at the Colts in 2 weeks when he's sitting on the bench?
The very implication on Twitter of me saying that the Patriots might not have won the trade was enough to trigger 1,000 responses.
Well, that's because Patriots fans have super soft skin.
Well, because you know what, and the reason is, in all sincerity, is because they don't know how to lose.
No, they're very poor losers.
Yeah, they're not used to losing. They're not able to I have a thick skin because I'm used to dealing with the losses. They just literally don't know how to lose. They don't know how to handle it. So they lash out in their anger at those of us who are chortling with glee.
Do you chortle often?
No, I haven't had many opportunities to chortle.
So this was a big chortling weekend for you?
Hey, I may not get another weekend all year where the Irish and Jets win and the Patriots lose. And so, I mean, just the very fact that it happened was delightful. And I hope it keeps happening.
Well, now that you're railing so hard against the Patriots, you know that they just go undefeated the rest of the season.
I'm going to pick them on Thursday night against Tampa. Tell you that right now.
Is this your new strategy? You're just going to continue to pick them to just absolutely curse your season? It looks like you're really buying into the curse these days.
No, but I've got that's more of a game-specific thing where Tampa almost gave away that game to the Giants yesterday. The Giants are a really bad team, so the Patriots are not as bad and nowhere near as bad as the Giants are. So and Brady doesn't lose back-to-back games. It just doesn't happen. You can just see that the Patriots sort of closing the circles and sort of backing each other up and saying we're not losing 2 games in 5 days, blah, 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 and striking out and winning the game. So I think the Patriots will probably get it done. But that's still, that defense, unless it sprouts wings and develops new players, I don't know how they're going to fix it.
Well, I mean, it's probably a good thing they're playing Tampa then because they're pretty annihilated in their secondary and the linebacking core as well.
Yeah, another reason why I think, even though that line's big, I think the Patriots should cover.
What's the line?
4.5, which is bigger than I thought it would be.
Yeah, you're getting the Patriots extra juice on that, though.
Yeah, you are. I get it. I assumed it would be closer to 2.5. So
and it feels like if the Patriots win games, I mean, I guess did they end up winning by 3 over Houston, or did they win by a touchdown over Houston?
By 3. I think they were down 4, so I think they won by 3, something like that.
Maybe that 4.5 is kind of enticing. Maybe their defense is so bad that they're going to have to win 3-point games.
Well, the Patriots, I mean, I think we'll see in fantasies, the Patriots are going to have to start running the ball a lot more.
Yeah, they really, their defense is so bad, they need to control but they can't have these big strike plays.
That's it. Any game where the Patriots don't possess the ball for 35-plus minutes is a game I don't think they can win.
35-plus minutes is tough. 33, 34.
Well, but then I think you got to be thinking 35.
Sure, you got to think that way, but you also can't run an offense that isn't efficient whatsoever. Because if you start playing offense that way, maybe they need to go back to sort of their short passing and basically use their pass like their 3-yard slants or 4-yard slants as an extension of their running game, just to milk the clock a little bit and continue these bigger drives. But if you just stand back and run the ball every time and people know you're not going to pass, it's not going to work.
No, that's sure. But with Tom Brady under center, you always have to respect him, even if you think there's going to be a run. You've always got to respect him under center that you can't stack the box on him.
What'd you think of Cam's hat?
Preposterous.
Cam looked amazing yesterday.
One of his worst hats. I mean,
you're just jealous of, as someone who is a jaunty chapeau aficionado like yourself, I just think you are jealous of Cam's hat collection.
Listen, I am not in the business of bashing anybody who beats the Patriots at home.
But all you do is bash Cam. This is a weird situation for you.
I am delighted that Cam played as well. I didn't know that he had it in him for this week. Delighted that he did. He has lots of nice hats. That is not one of them. It's ugly.
What about his Nazi from Raiders of the Lost Ark glasses?
Those again were preposterous. Those were pretty funny. He has interesting and cool get-ups sometimes. I think yesterday was a swing and a miss.
No, yesterday was one of the better ones. I really, really enjoyed it.
No, you just enjoyed it because you knew I didn't.
No, I really enjoy it because I enjoy outrageous fashion.
Well, I do too.
No, you don't. That's the last thing you enjoy.
I am one of the most fashion-forward people you know.
All you do is wear sweater vests and basketball shorts.
That's not what.
What are you wearing right now?
At this moment,
Yep.
I'm wearing basketball shorts and a t-shirt.
Oh, okay. So when you put on your outerwear, you just put on a sweater vest over your t-shirt, and you're ready for the world.
Maybe I should. No,
What do you mean maybe you should? That's definitely what you're going to do.
No, it's fall now. I can put on my cardigans.
No, so you can wear a cardigan t-shirt and basketball shorts.
Yes.
You're one of these weirdos that'll wear shorts into December, don't you?
No, I most certainly am not. In fact, I have real problems with that.
Do you? Why?
Unless you live in a warm climate, you should not be wearing shorts anytime after the first week of October.
Shorts outdoors.
Outdoors, yeah, of course. Indoors, you have to if you're at the gym or whatever, yeah.
Or at home.
Or at home is fine too if you're indoors. But yeah, out in public, after after Thanksgiving or Canadian Thanksgiving, that's like the dead last cutoff.
For 99% of people who watch the show who don't know when Canadian Thanksgiving is, it's next Monday.
Yeah, it's next Monday. What used to be called Columbus Day, but is now Indigenous Peoples Day.
Well, it's Thanksgiving in Canada.
According to South Park.
Yes.
It's Thanksgiving in Canada.
And we'll be doing a show next week.
We will be. We will be working on the holiday.
The worst part is, being in Canada and working primarily for a U.S. market, I don't get any of my holidays, but I also don't get to take any American holidays either. They're like, oh, you're the only person doing content on these holidays. Perfect. Except for Thanksgiving. I will take American Thanksgiving off just to watch football. But that's also, that's work. It's not like I'm sitting around eating turk. Big turk.
The best chocolate bar there is.
Oh, my God. Okay, so things that you cursed yesterday.
Nothing.
My 3-team to miss the playoffs parlay of the Raiders, Titans, and Dolphins starting to look better.
I mean, the Raiders would have won that game pretty handily had Derek Carr not got hurt.
Well, they weren't winning the game pretty handily with Derek Carr healthy.
Yeah, but it came
down to that was going to change, though.
The game came down to a last-minute game winning or losing drive from E.J. Manuel.
E.J. Manuel is how you pronounce his name?
And he's no good. So, yeah, the come away from yesterday's game, when that one was, Broncos still have some real problems. Good that they won, but they nearly lost to a terrible backup. That should be disconcerting. And the Raiders desperately need Derek Carr back. With him, they're amongst the best teams. Without him, they're hopeless.
Well, is it strange to you that last year...
No, I know what you're going to say. Let's just move on.
That you cursed both Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota, the Raiders and Titans, by saying that they were both going to beat the Patriots in the playoffs. And then that same week, they both broke their legs. And now we're in this season, and you're big on the Raiders, you're big on the Titans, and both guys get hurt in the same weekend again.
That is strange. It's annoying is what it is.
You don't see any correlation here?
No, I don't think there's any correlation because, I mean, they weren't the same injuries this time. There were different injuries.
No, same guys, though.
Derek Carr seems to be okay. For every report seems that he had some back spasms, but he'll be fine.
Mariota's going to be iffy. I don't see him playing next week with a hamstring problem.
No, neither do I.
And I'm sure they're like, I bet you Tom Brady could play through a hamstring problem because he doesn't really need to move ever. But so much of Mariota's game is based on running and being elusive and quick that a hamstring problem is far more detrimental to him than it would be to one of these statue quarterbacks.
No, I think that's right. But Mariota's so dependent upon his mobility that I think I don't know when the Tennessee bye week is, but he doesn't play this week, and I bet you he doesn't go next week either. If hamstrings don't heal overnight. Those are real things.
So what do we make of the Texans now? Is that just a 1-week blip for them?
No, because they put up the Patriots defense is terrible, but they put up 36 on the Patriots. I don't know. It seems like switching to Watson and then having that mini bye right after the Bengals game when they had just switched to Watson for one game. Seemed like something has clicked offensively. Anyway, seems like something has clicked.
Well, do you know what it might be? I don't know if Watson is great or not. Maybe it's just defenses aren't ready for him yet, and that will adjust as the season goes along. But he's at least competent, and he's the first competent quarterback they've had in Houston in 5 years since Schaub wasn't terrible, and it drastically improved their team.
Totally. I mean, Hopkins is getting used again. The guy's got mobility. I still think he's too much of a run-first quarterback, but Hopkins is getting work. He's able to open up his ability to actually throw the ball really also helps Lamar Miller, who's a good running back, who's now going to get some opportunities because they can't stack the box on him and compel the Texans running game to beat him. I think Watson could end up being the steal of last year's draft in the first round.
It's gonna be hard to know that for a bit after we see some of these other quarterbacks mature, or maybe someone else comes out. Unlike you, I'd rather take a larger sample instead of just assessing best trade and best draft of all time after like 3 weeks.
No, that's right. I think that's why I said he has the potential. We have some breaking news on the Bears starting quarterback.
Oh, is Trubisky starting now?
Yes, after just reported 3 minutes ago that Trubisky will start next week on Monday night with the Vikings.
Oh man, I hope you have Minnesota defense.
Yeah, the game's at home, and it's the Bears. I want the Bears in that game.
Yeah, I probably will take the Bears in that game, too. I had made kind of a joke last Thursday on Twitter that I actually thought the game was in Minnesota, and there had to be sort of like a bunch of certain circumstances. I just wanted as many points as possible for the Bears whenever they play at home. I thought that Bradford would come back this week, and maybe if they blew out the Lions, we could get like more than a touchdown, just because the Bears look so bad on Thursday night. But we're going to get like 3.5 points, 4 points here.
You think?
Probably, and I'll probably take the Vikings. Like, the Vikings might have one of the best defenses in football. They
do.
You can't tell right now.
I feel bad for the Vikings. That's a team I had real high hopes for.
Yeah, it's another team that you've cursed. You cursed their starting quarterback, the Titans' starting quarterback, Tannehill. Every team that you picked to do well this season has lost their quarterback.
The Cowboys haven't lost their quarterback.
No, they've just lost their will to win.
I'm very concerned that both Dez and even Elliott don't look like they're a step worse than they were last year.
Well, do you think it's because Dak isn't... A lot of their success last season was Dak was so efficient and they were able to run the ball so effectively that it's almost sort of like a Patriots situation. You talk about the Patriots playing this game of ball control to help out their defense. That's what Dallas did last year. And I think it duped people into thinking that their defense was good, because it's not.
Yeah, they're not converting third downs on offense, which is... But yesterday, the defense scored... The Cowboys scored enough points to win. Anytime you score 30 points in the NFL, you should win a ball game.
You should, and the defense was so bad that Legatron kicked like 6 field goals. Like that, the Rams could have scored 60 in that game.
Oh, most totally. Like you said, the Patriots and Cowboys are very similar, that they both have very good offenses, but their defenses are, we're starting to think that they may be real troubling. So yes, if I were Dallas, I would be, and having one of the best physical backs, Dallas should just be feeding Ezekiel as often as possible, try to slow games down and chew up clock.
But the thing is, they've been trying to do that early in downs, and the other teams know it now. And they seem to have no interest in going to the air early. Like, if you can open up and remember when you were just bigging up Jason Witten after like his first big week, and now he doesn't have a catch since.
Yeah, that's annoying.
But it's stuff like that. Like, they just have people on the field who are basically irrelevant to what they're doing. Like, Dez seems irrelevant 80% of the time. Like when you watch the Cowboys, like he's not even involved.
Yeah, until they get down to the red zone, you never think, oh, well, it's going to be Dez's turn.
Which is weird.
But they're up against the Packers this week at home. And, like, the Packers are not, like, shut down defensively. I mean, they played well against the Seahawks and well against
the Bears.
Chicago. But they got, Atlanta absolutely took them for a ride. So.
Sure. Oh.
And when they played the playoffs, that was a high-scoring game, too. So particularly going up against Aaron Rodgers this week, I think you're absolutely right that the Cowboys' only path to victory is a 35-minute possession game where they grind it and grind it and grind it, and actually throw to Dez on a 1st and 10 where you think they're going to run. Do chuck a little screen pass over to Dez just to keep him active in the game.
I think there's something to be said about that. Who is it? Was it Gase? No, I think it was McVay. McVay with the Rams, basically, and he didn't do this yesterday because Watkins was an absolute non-factor in that game. It's going to be, we'll get to this in the wide receiver section, but it's going to be super frustrating owning any Ram in fantasy that's not Todd Gurley.
Yeah, or Legatron.
Or Legatron, who's just great. Yeah, that's finally coming around for you. Do you still believe that he has goal line to goal line range?
I believed it then, I believe it now. The man is unstoppable.
What did I want to talk? There was something. Oh, the Bills. This is a weird season for the Bills because I texted you as soon as Atlanta got the ball back and the Bills didn't convert and they kicked that stupid field goal and they probably should have went for it, which turned out to be it wasn't the super smart move because Atlanta would have tied the game and that field goal did win it for them. But that had all the makings of a classic Bills devastating loss, and they didn't lose. It was really bizarre.
They didn't lose.
Were you surprised that when you saw Atlanta?
Yes, I usually expect the Bills to do stupid things and lose in heartbreaking fashion.
And the 4th and 1 gets converted. There's no Julio or Sanu on the field. They're both hurt. And somehow Atlanta comes back and win. It had that feel to it, and then it didn't happen. Is this a new look Bills?
I don't know.
They play just such grimy football.
They do play. They remind me of a couple of years ago Chiefs team, in that they play great defense.
I don't even feel like they play great defense though. They're like that Chiefs team in that they're just generating weird turnovers all the time.
They do that. They have a marquee running back, which those Chiefs teams had. They had a quarterback with a little bit of mobility who cannot turn the ball over, which what that Chiefs team had, and they're lucky, which is what those Chiefs teams were. So the Bills have all these sort of components in a division where, I can be as hyped as I want. The Jets are not great. The Dolphins have some real problems.
Really? That's your assessment of the Dolphins? Real problems?
They have some real problems that I don't know how they're going to sort out. And the Patriots are a mess. So, the Bills...
The Bills have an opportunity here. The Patriots still win this division.
The Patriots should still win. I would still pick the Patriots to win this division for certain. The Patriots are a playoff team. I have no doubt that they're a playoff team. But the Bills look like in a weak AFC... If they can if they continue to fluke things out, they'll make the playoffs maybe. But this week they go to Cincinnati, and everyone's in the world is going to be on the Bills, and the Bengals could win it pretty comfortably and sort of surprise people.
Well, as a recovering Bills fan, I actually have a storied history with Cincinnati. Cincinnati always beats the Bills, always.
Yeah.
No matter how good the Bills are, how bad the Bengals always beat them.
How much money after the next Bills game will that guy who sells $5 hats make?
Oh man. I bought one last time we were there.
1-8, going to the playoffs. $5. I'll have one of those.
we're doing it. We're going 8-8. That's when Detroit was like 1-7, right?
Yeah, it was 1-7 versus 0-8.
I will say that I've never seen anyone in person more physically impressive than Kelvin Johnson was in that game.
Even more physically impressive than Serena Williams?
Yeah, well, it's hard to tell. Like, I was up in the press box when I saw Serena, or I was in the press room and she was sitting down. And Calvin Johnson's just such a giant person.
No, I'm with you. I was there with you. And yeah, Calvin Johnson was a freakishly huge person. It was weird, very eerie.
So, how nervous and pacing around were you getting in that Jets game?
Oh, I had already accepted that we were going to lose.
I really thought you were going to lose, too.
And said as much.
Oh, so you reverse cursed them.
No, I thought we were going to win the game. And I was fired up until that freakish interception touchdown. That turned all the tables on me, and I thought, oh my God, we're going to lose again. I can't believe it. And they got to 20-20. The Jags got the ball. No, it was 20-17. The Jags got the ball. And I thought, the Jags are going to score a touchdown. The Jets aren't even going to cover. This is going to be the worst. I was forlorn and depressed. And then somehow we managed to hold them to a field goal. Then somehow we managed to get the ball back late, and then a penalty that should have gone against the Jags went against the Jets. Then the Jets, again, tried to blow it. So it's third down, the clock is running. And there's 35 seconds left, and McCown spikes it. rather than taking a knee to set up the field goal, to run the clock. That way, if you miss, it's a tie. If you make it, it's a win. By spiking the ball, you leave 32 seconds on the clock, for if you miss it, the Jags can go down and try to kick a game tire or a game winner. And even the commentator said, I don't think I quite understand why you'd spike the ball there. It was like, you don't understand it because you shouldn't do it. Because Todd Bowles is not a coach that knows what he's doing. He's still not competent. So I was sure up until that moment we were going to blow it. But then it went through and we won, and I was excited. And I think the Jets are not by no means the worst team in football. The Jets are a scrappy team that can win 5-6 games. I went through their schedule yesterday, and I found a way to get them to 9-7. But
no, let's do that right now. Tell me how they go 9-7. They win at Cleveland this week.
Do we really want to do this?
Yeah, I really want to do it. I want to hear how they get to 9 wins. How many times do they beat the Patriots in this situation?
So we get the Browns this week. We win that, so we're 3-2. Next week it's home to the Patriots, but I think coming off the mini bye, the Patriots get the game. So
that's the big distinction in the Patriots beating the Jets. They have the extended rest.
I think that makes a big difference.
Okay.
So I think the Patriots win the game. We usually play them tough at home, but I think the Patriots get the game. So 3-3. Next week at Miami. Miami can't. We already beat Miami at home. Miami's got issues. Jets get the season sweep. So 4-3. Next week is at home to the Falcons. Falcons don't travel well, but I think the Falcons are going to win the game. So we give the Falcons the game. 4-4. Next week, Bills at home on a short week on a Thursday night. Division game, that sets up advantageous for the Jets. We give the Jets that game. So we're at 5 wins, right? Yes, we're at 5 wins.
Yep.
Next week's at the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are an up-and-down team, but we're coming off the mini-bye, so we get that game. That's 6 wins.
Okay.
The next week is then we have our bye week, it seems.
It seems, or you do?
Yeah, well, we go from the 12th of November to the 26th of November. So I guess we have our bye week then.
Okay.
Then we have the Panthers at home with a long rest. Yeah, we get that game. That's a win. So then we're at 7. Next week is the Chiefs. We lose that game. Then the week after that, at Denver. We lose that game. At the Saints is the pivot game. I think by that point that the Saints are kind of out of it, and who knows, Sean Payton's thinking about getting out the door. He's not working extra hard on that film prep to get ready for, a Jets team, which can be very tricky in both special teams and defense. I say we get the game, so that's 8. Then we have the Chargers at home on Christmas Eve. Chargers are terrible. We get that game, that's 9. At the Patriots, Patriots are, I'm saying that could be the game for the division. Patriots-Jets could be flexed into Sunday night, the way that those teams look right now. At the Patriots, I can't give us that game. So if I did, I guess we get to 10, but I don't, so I get us to 9. However, this is me being very optimistic and seeing things through Hunter Green-colored glasses. I appreciate they could lose a couple of these games I gave them wins with. But, I mean, like the Buccaneers game or the Panthers game. But I kind of like our chances. If this team can stay healthy, if McCown can continue to be proficient, Jets, Jumbo Jets.
That was so ludicrous.
It may have been, but I listen, I didn't want to go through the schedule.
You were the one claiming they're going to win 9 games.
I didn't claim it. I said I can get them to 9 games. Actually, I guess I can get them to 10 games.
Yeah, and that was it. This is exactly the opposite of what happened in the preseason, where they started as a 13-3 team, and then they cut Decker, and then all of a sudden they were only a 6-win team somehow. Because his wins above replacement, as we're seeing for the Titans, is just so astonishing. Like next week after they lose to the Browns, you're like, oh, they'll never win a game again.
If they lose to the Browns, the fact that the Browns are favored in that football game is so angry. I think that'll be I think the Jets will use that as sort of like motivation. That this team, who hasn't, not only are they not winning games, they haven't been close in the game in a while, are favored to beat the Jets. Oh boy, that's such an insult.
Maybe you should be insulted. Maybe it will rile up the troops.
It should. I mean, this Jets team, the world didn't believe in them. Even I didn't believe in them much this year, and they're playing. Maybe this is the year.
Well, maybe that was the key to their success, that you had given up on them. Then they were reverse cursed, and now they're good. Now you're back on the bandwagon. They're going to be terrible again.
I'm never really off the bandwagon, but I'm still have a jaundiced eye. I'm skeptical of this team. I can get you to the games we need, but I appreciate that I'm being overly optimistic.
All right, I had one gripe more about week 4, and I don't know why I haven't noticed this before. Maybe I haven't watched the Lions. Like, I usually watch the Lions on a really far away TV, and it was the TV like right in front of me where I go and watch the games. Their numbers on their jerseys are the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
And they're brand new jerseys too. Yeah,
they're like thin lettering, and they're on an angle. They look really stupid. They look sort of like an Arena League football team. Yeah, I don't disagree. I think for a team that has such really cool colors with that like Honolulu blue and silver, they do that uniform a disservice. Yeah, I don't like it. Don't like it one bit. I'm with you. I like it less than you like. I like it less than you like Cam's hats. This was the week 4 of my dreams, and let's hope it continues. Yeah, and all your teams that you picked to go to the playoffs and go to the NFC and AFC championship game were in disarray. Yeah, I mean the Cowboys are in the least disarray, but if Carr's fine. If there was such a thing as curses, then how are the Rams 3-1? Who has been struck down on the Rams? Let's see that happen then. Well, I mean, this is what you said about the Falcons last season. Do you think that Falcons fans are happy that you were so big on them last year? Only to lose in the most devastating way possible? I think they should properly turn their fire on the people who are responsible for it, not me. You're responsible. Not guilty. I plead not guilty. All right, let's move to receivers. I have Will Fuller at number 1. Maybe that's an overreact. Will Fuller V, should I say, at number 1. Then I go Funches, Shepard, Kupp, John Brown, Marquise Lee, Alan Hearns, Jaron Brown, J.J. Nelson, and P. Rich, your buddy. I have Sanu, who's injured right now with a hamstring problem at 11, but the Falcons go on by. He and Julio Jones should be back by the time they get off, that they return for week 6, so I'm not too worried about the Falcons receiving core. I moved up your boy, Hump Daddy, Adam Humphries.
You should have. I like that you're still trying to make J.J. Nelson a thing. He isn't. He's not that good, and he's not that meaningful. Richardson is better than him. Humphries is better than him, right off the jump.
Well, I mean, those are two guys who don't score as many fantasy points as he does. Maybe,
Nelson did nothing last on Monday night.
Sure, well, you realize that Nelson was hurt, right?
Then he had 3 receptions yesterday.
Okay.
I don't believe in him. I don't think anybody should believe in him. Richardson.
This is great. This is great news for J.J. Nelson's prospects.
Richardson, you can believe in. Humphries, you can believe in.
Humphries, you can believe in this week because they're playing the Patriots. You
can believe in him any week. I think he's proven himself as somebody that Winston does like to go to in tight spots. Marquise Lee. I mean, what is there to be said about Marquise Lee?
He had a really bad game.
Yeah, against a defense. I mean, I'm right to say the Jets are probably a top 10, top 12 defense.
No, I don't know about that. You claim that Saxonville is like a bottom 5 team. So when they give up 20 points to Jacksonville, they're a top 10 defense?
No, Jacksonville is not a top 5 team or bottom 5 team. They're just a 6-10, 5-11, 4-12 sort of like shoulder shrug team.
Unlike the 10-6 Jets.
See, this is what I was afraid of before I came on the podcast. That I would be pigeonholed into saying something about the Jets that I would regret saying in a moment of spontaneous sincerity. I feel like I've done that.
But you think they're going to win 10 games. I know you well enough that you might say that you don't believe it, but this is what you're believing. Like, you might have already pre-ordered Jets AFC Championship gear for all I know.
I have scoped out various Jets games that I thought could be flexed into primetime this morning.
Okay, so a guy that I think really is worth looking for, and this Trubisky thing kind of throws the Bears receiving core into whack. It does. Generally speaking, when a backup or a rookie comes in, they tend to have more of a rapport with like the third string receiver and just pepper that guy with targets. So if that's Deontay Thompson, or potentially, it's probably not Marcus Wheaton because he wasn't practicing. Maybe Josh Bellamy or Deontay Thompson could get some extra looks here. Zach Miller as a tight end could do some damage just with really safe outs if they want to pass. I mean, this throws this Cohen thing into flux too, where maybe he doesn't like throwing to Cohen. Maybe that's a Glennon thing.
Yeah, I mean, all that's well said, and because we don't know, we can't pronounce on it.
Sure.
We just sort of have to let it go.
So the guy that I did want to bring up was Trent Taylor.
I disagreed with your Fuller rank. As much as I love Fuller, I want Funchess more than him.
I mean, they don't get to play the Patriots every week.
I appreciate that, but it's not like the NFC South is not riddled with top-tier defenses, so they're going to get to play some bad Ds again.
That's why he's number 2. I think he's a good pickup. I think I would. It's not like the AFC South outside of Saxonville is going up against really tough defenses either. You don't think that Will Fuller V can have a big game against the Colts?
Yeah, well, I mean, not the Colts of the first half of the last night, no, but the Colts of the second half, yes.
Well, unfortunately, they have to play all 60 minutes of the game.
They do. It's a bland truism, but it happens to be the case.
So Trent Taylor is someone I want to mention. He and Adam Humphries are both very, very lowly owned. Humphries has a great matchup this week, like you mentioned. I'm with you. The NFC South doesn't possess a bundle of great defenses. He could have some value in PPR formats. This Trent Taylor guy I've been impressed by him 2 weeks in a row now. And just weirdly, I've been watching 49ers games. It sucks that I took the 49ers week 1. Me and you both did, and they've covered every other week, and I've only gone back to them once.
Yeah, well, I had the Super 7 this week, which was nice.
I had a bad Super 7 week. I just had a bad week in general for picks.
I went 3-4 for the third straight week.
I think I went 2-5, if that. I had the Broncos, so that helped. They were my super. I won my super lock at least. That's good news.
Yeah, so did I. And we went 3-4, and the only one I felt sort of annoyed about was that we had Tampa to cover, and that Tampa won, but they didn't cover.
Oh, I had the Giants, so I have at least 2 wins.
Yeah, so that was kind of greasy. But the other ones we either won, like we had Tennessee -1.5, and that was just totally the wrong side.
I had that too.
Yeah, like it happens. You just had the wrong. We took the Eagles covered for the first time for us all year. We have the Eagles every week.
Yeah,
maybe they were against the Chargers, so I couldn't take them both.
That's a good way to play it.
Like both of those teams, I like betting on every week, even though both those teams break my heart.
All right, so I do want to talk about Trent Taylor for a second.
All right, let's talk about him.
So, in the 49ers game, Trent Taylor and Aldrick Robinson both see double-digit targets. And some people will say this is a product of Marquise Goodwin suffering a concussion. He got taken out of the game. I actually really liked Marquise Goodwin in this spot just because you figure that Patrick Peterson would just lock down Pierre Garçon and just be on him all game, and that's what happened. So, who is the biggest benefactor here? I think that Aldrick Robinson is the outlier, that we've now seen Trent Taylor be involved in that Thursday night game against the Rams and looked really good. Comes from some pretty substantial pedigree from college as well. And I think where he just plays in this offense, that they're going to have to throw so much that he could start absorbing like 6 to 8 targets a week. Like, he might be a more viable option than someone like Marquise Goodwin, even if he does come back. Like, Aldrick Robinson, in my mind, only has value should Marquise Goodwin sit for a while, because then he morphs into their deep threat. It seems like Taylor can kind of take some of these short routes and maybe alleviate some pressure off Pierre Garçon. I'm not recommending picking him up in a 10-team league or even a shallow 12-team league, but 14-team leagues or deep bench leagues, all PPR leagues of that size, I think he's someone that you need to at least have on your radar, because it seems like he has excellent hands, and Hoyer seems to have some has confidence in him.
I agree, but I also think like what we saw yesterday, 5 for 47, is like a good day for him. Like, I think he is a guy who should get 2 to 3 catches min every week. But like, I think 7 would be a really good day for him.
Well, 7's a really good day for anyone.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So let's like be patient about him. I think you're right to have him on your radar, but no need to pick him out. I think 5 for 47 is about what he could be.
I mean, I don't think that's like a baseline for him, but I pencil him for like 4 for 40 every week. And
that's not a baseline. I think that's a slightly like that's close to a ceiling for him.
I don't think that's a ceiling. I mean, they used him in the red zone against the Rams. Like,
yeah, and he had the 1 touchdown. That's true, but he only had 3 catches.
Sure, but this is him. This is the 49ers offense, which isn't very good. And we're seeing his role grow in this offense. And we've seen Shanahan in the past. Like, he's going to pepper one guy with a bunch of targets, and that's Pierre Garçon. And even though he was just massively locked down for the entire game, he's still seeing targets. And then there's always someone else who emerges in the Shanahan offense that just becomes a very good secondary option. We saw it with like Mohamed Sanu last year for a period, and then it became Taylor Gabriel. Yeah. And but again, I think that Taylor has the potential to become one of these guys if Hoyer trusts him enough. And
to argue against myself, he's got more receptions in every game through 4 games. Like, he receives more each and every game. So maybe he's just getting acclimatized. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, he's a rookie. Let's figure this out a little bit. Like, I think that, again, for deeper leagues, like, it's hard to pick up guys in 14-team league. Guys are just owned, and this is a guy who is not owned. So I think he's someone with some potential. It's not like you're picking him up and starting him next week. Just put him on your bench.
He's somebody who I may or may not have on my radar in the keeper league.
Oh, God. Well, I mean, that'd be the end of his career.
Oh, please.
To join that collection of losers.
There is no curse. No one on the Cowboys is seriously hurt. The Rams are doing great. Carr would be fine. Prove me wrong.
I mean, every time something happens, you just deflect and you don't want to stare reality in the face.
I take no responsibility. But I'll tell you what I was right about, and I tweeted this at you on Saturday, and it happened on Sunday.
Oh, an Instarator?
As soon as I heard Crabtree was out, I was like, I wish there was some way I could wager on whether it will be an Instarator touchdown.
Now, can you explain to the people what an Instarator is?
For many years, because Oakland was amongst the very, very worst teams in football, and so they had no good players, every week somebody on the Raiders would catch a touchdown you've never heard of. And again, we like to think of ourselves like in the top 1% of people who watch NFL games.
I mean, I actually am one of those people. You are not.
I like to think I'm pretty close.
I mean, you like to think a lot of things.
I think the very fact that you put me on the show every week for my NFL acumen lets me think that I'm also in that group.
That is true. You are on this show because of your insight to football.
I appreciate that, and your praise is well deserved. So every week, somebody on this team would catch a touchdown we've never heard of, and it just became an issue.
It wasn't that they would catch a touchdown; they would make it a reception.
It was a reception, and it would be some guy they just sign up the practice squad you've never heard of, and they became an Insta-Raider. And so it went away last year for the most part because the Raiders turned out to be a 12-4 team and pretty good and had talented receivers. But as soon as Crabtree went out, you could bet your boots that some guy you never heard of would make a catch. It happened to be Holton, who scored a touchdown.
All right, let's move to tight ends very quickly. I think there's 3 must pickups and maybe a fringy 4th one. So Evan Ingram is number 1 on this list because he's a receiver and he gets double-digit targets a week now. He's pretty good. Very rarely do you see rookie receivers step in and just be in an offense and be effective on a consistent basis every single week. He is that right now. So he's number one pickup. I have Ben Watson at number 2 right now. I'm going to move Charles Clay ahead of him. I don't know what I was thinking on that one. Charles Clay is the only player that Tyrod Taylor throws to. So,
Yeah.
that has some value to it. Ben Watson has at least 5 catches or a touchdown in each of the last 3 games. And even against Pittsburgh, he came in with a calf injury, suffered what turned out not to be a concussion, but went into protocol for a while, and then they was told to tell the truth, and he came back in because he was fine, and then he ended up producing again. So for PPR leagues, Ben Watson just seems like a very safe floor every single week, as does your main man, Austin Seferian-Jenkins.
That was an aberration. I don't want anything to do with him.
That's 2 weeks in a row. Like, the guy's going to have 4 or 5 catches every single week. Tight end is real. Through the early games yesterday, only 1 tight end had caught a touchdown, and it was Tyler Kroft, and he had 2.
I want nothing to do with Austin Seferian-Jenkins.
Reverse cursed Austin Seferian-Jenkins, PPR deep league sensation.
You can't make me say anything nice about him.
Why? He's on your team.
Yeah, I don't like him.
What will it take for ASJ to earn your respect?
Nothing.
No, you can't do anything.
You know what? Fine. You go make the Pro Bowl, son. You make the Pro Bowl, I'll respect you.
Son, listen to you. He's probably the same age as you.
He's not the same age as me.
I don't know. Maybe he is. How old is he?
I'll effort that. Hold on.
So the other 2 things, if you're looking for streaming options so far, the Giants and Browns have just been brutal against tight ends. We saw that happen again this week. So Austin Seferian-Jenkins obviously steps into that matchup with the Browns. That's a very nice spot. Even if you don't want to pick him up for the entire year, it's a great situation if you need a streamer as it pertains to week 5. And then against the Giants, Hunter Henry and Antonio Gates. Henry's probably owned because for whatever reason, he's like 59% owned still, but Antonio Gates is not. It's a situation for him to use his big body and get into the red zone against the Giants. So that's something I'd be on. If I was streaming, these guys... Listen, I think they kind of, between the Chargers offense not being very good and Keenan Allen getting all the targets in that offense, and then Williams being the second in line, there's just not enough to make those guys consistent starters every week. But in plus matchups, Henry and Gates are both viable options if you're just kind of scumming for a touchdown. So I like those 2 guys.
I agree. I would prefer Gates over Henry because the Chargers hate Henry, except for the 1 touchdown he had yesterday.
That's more than Gates had.
That is more than Gates had. I wish... You'll have to remind us to ask on Thursday what facial hair that Lynn was sporting on the sidelines yesterday.
I didn't notice.
Neither did I. I feel like he was clean shaven.
Well, nothing's working.
No, we'll have to ask our resident facial hair expert, Jeff Feinberg.
So for quarterbacks, the number 1 quarterback I'm going with for streaming options this week, which is funny because you were talking about, but I was kind of making the case against him, but he's playing Jacoby Brissett at home against San Francisco. It's a lot like streaming Kaiser a few weeks ago where against Indy where he can just pile up fantasy points. He doesn't even need to be all that good to put up fantasy points, and I think this is a pretty good spot for him.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
So I go...
think
what's that?
One guy who's ranked... you have him ranked low because... A, we haven't seen him play tonight yet, and B, we don't know what his situation is. But if, let's say Reed misses a game again tonight, I like Vernon Davis better than all these guys other than Ingram.
Yeah, but the problem...
Listen,
Vernon Davis is fine if Reed's not playing, but Reed's supposed to play tonight, so...
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Everything's still sort of up in the air. But if in a situation where...
Yeah, if Reed doesn't play, Vernon Davis is entirely startable every single week.
Okay, that's the point I wanted to make. And
but he's not startable whatsoever if Jordan Reed plays.
I stipulate that too.
Okay, so where can I put him in the rankings?
I don't know how you rank him.
It's one of those things where in the weekly ranking, if you just have him on your team, if you have Jordan Reed, which when we talk about running back handcuffs, you don't want tight end handcuffs.
No, you do not.
So streaming quarterbacks for the week, I'm going to go Brissett, Eli at home against the Chargers, Hoyer at Indy, Deshaun Watson against Kansas City, McCown at Cleveland, Kaiser against the Jets, and Tyrod Taylor against Cincinnati. You got any problems?
No problems.
You going to play Mitch Trubisky?
No.
Mitch. Big Mitch coming in. Feel like it's not going to go well for him week 1.
I feel like against the Vikings, even though it's at home, it's going to be an ugly game. However, Vikings are having trouble scoring, so it could be like a 10-7 Vikings win.
Well, that's not helping us in fantasy too much.
It most certainly is not.
So, streaming defenses for the week, I have Philly number 1. For whatever reason, they're just not highly owned. They're at home against Arizona. Carson Palmer had some real Carson Palmer-esque. He threw for like 360 yards, but he made some very Carson Palmer-esque throws to the other team that were just dropped. So
that wager I made with you that Carson Palmer would have over 4,500 yards is going to hit.
Yeah, maybe it will, and he might not even be good doing it. It's kind of crazy.
No.
You know what wager's not looking so good for you? The Jay Ajayi 2,000 rushing yards.
Oh boy, is it ever.
You might be owing me a lot of money on that one.
Well, it's not a lot of money, but yes, I'm not going to win that bet. I conceded.
Oh, would you like to have an early cash out of it?
No, but I'm just letting the people know I don't expect to win that bet, and I expect to have to pay you when it's over.
Austin Hooper is coming out, I think he's up by 30 fantasy points on Julius Thomas now?
Yes, it was very frustrating that Julius Thomas didn't catch that touchdown yesterday in the back of the end zone.
That's what he does. Doesn't produce fantasy points.
He didn't even try for the ball, which was the worst thing.
Maybe he'll get cut and be out of the league.
That would be devastating.
Austin Hooper, 10-1 for more fantasy points. Looking good.
He's looking good, but I keep reminding people, Julius has a game in hand still.
Oh, I mean, yeah, he's gonna make it all up in 1 week.
He's not going to make it up all in 1 week, but he still has a game in hand. I got that left to bank on.
All right, so full defenses. We have Philly, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, Oakland, Miami, Tampa Bay, Buffalo, the Jets, and Detroit. The Miami pick is assuming Matt Castle is playing quarterback because he looked terrible.
Of those, I like the Jets the best, I think.
Really? You like the Jets the best? Big shocker.
Against the Browns. Yes, I do. The Browns are a gift from God.
Philly against Arizona is easily the best streamer.
I don't know that I'd agree. Actually, you know what? I would put on the board that I'd prefer the Jets to Philadelphia this week.
Oh, would you like to make a wager on that?
Yes, I would.
All right, what would you like to wager?
I don't know what the stakes would have to be.
Will you give me 10-1?
No, I would not.
This is an even money bet that the Philadelphia defense doesn't score as much as the Jets defense. That's the side you want to take?
Correct.
All right, we'll figure it out off air. Standard bet?
Yeah, standard bet, but I like it.
I like it too. That's why I'm going to take Philadelphia. That's why I have number one. I'll put my money where my mouth is. Have number one in my pickup rankings over the Jets, who I have in 8th. I'm going to see a lot of running against the Jets this week. That's what the Browns can do here.
But I can also see Kaiser turning it over 4 times.
Sure. I mean, but that usually happens in circumstances where they get down by a bunch.
But they are going to get down by a bunch because the Jets are a decent team.
No, you're just setting yourself up for failure with the Jets.
No, I've accepted the fact that I started the year not without any expectations. So if they don't deliver, that's okay.
Yeah, but now you have expectations. You're putting money on them. You think they're going to win 10 games. This is nuts. You think that they're the best defensive pickup of the week?
I'm not going to get overexcited about them.
You've already reached over. Oh my God! If they beat the Browns this week, think about how excited you'll be. They'll probably end up going 13-3 somehow this year.
Even though I gave them 10 wins, you're wrong to say that I think they're going to win 10 games.
You do. You probably know they're going to win 10 games.
Just
put it this way: when we started to talk about the schedule, and you went through, you're like, "Oh, I could give them 9 wins," and at the end, after they beat the Patriots, you gave them 10 wins.
I didn't. I just think that could be the Sunday night game where it decides who wins the playoff, who wins the division.
You think a lot of things.
I don't think the Bills have a chance to win the division. I'll say that.
Well, that's good news for the Bills. Great news for the Bills.
The Bills are nothing but going to be a bunch of heartaches. They're going to get rolled by the Bengals this week.
We'll see. Okay. I think we've gone through all that. Potpourri stuff.
Sure.
Curb came back last night.
It sure did, with a vengeance.
Yeah, I don't know if it was super funny or I just really liked it because I'm just pumped to see Curb back, but I don't care either way. I liked it.
It was hilarious at points. Like, absolutely hilarious.
You know who's not looking great?
Who's not? Richard Lewis?
Yeah, Richard Lewis.
Richard Lewis is already the saddest man on earth to begin with.
Sadder than the Weber Cooks guy?
He's sadder in a different sort of way.
Like,
Richard Lewis' whole game is being sad and sort of depressed.
Everyone in the show seemed like they were super pumped to be back.
Yeah, even Ted Danson, who hates Larry.
Yeah, he does hate Larry. And he's getting divorced, apparently.
Yeah.
that must be a weird situation. That he's still married in real life, isn't he?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like if they'd gotten divorced, you would have heard about it.
Yeah. So it must be weird just to do that on a show, playing yourself.
It was great. Leon was fantastic.
Yeah, Leon as Larry's assistant is the thing that needs to continue.
The theory of the foist was just brilliant. Lampin'. It's great.
I think my single favorite part of the episode was Susie chewing out the assistant in the background.
In the background. No, the best part of the episode, and the part where I actually did have to push pause because I laughed so hard, was when we saw Larry in his disguise. He had that on. I lost it.
Oh, were you upset that Larry wasn't using a bar of soap?
You know what? He learned his lesson, didn't he? By being unable to. And I will raise my hand to say, and that was the first thing in the episode. I struggle with that too, like with the hand soap sometimes.
Why are you using hand soap in the shower?
No, but just when you buy them, let's say for like hand soap for your washroom sink, let's say.
Okay.
I too have really struggled trying to get the pumpers to work, and I have in the past taken old bottles where the pumpers work and just unscrewed the top and poured in the new soap into it because I can't get the new ones to work. So Larry, I feel his pain on that.
Yeah, I mean, I've bought hand soap before and was able to get the pump working as well. Not the highest quality stuff, this hand soap.
No, it wasn't. Again, I'm surprised Larry paid the price for being in the shower and not using a bar of soap like a real human being.
I still like my loofah.
Yeah, well, that's because you like being covered in disgusting germs and being dirtier when you get out of the shower than when you went in.
No, I like to exfoliate my skin. It's why my skin is perfect and yours is not.
My skin is
gross. It's gross. No, it's gross.
It's 10 out of 10 by any reasonable standard.
No. The fact that you're younger than me and look at least 20 years older is evidence against that.
That isn't true.
It is true. People can see you.
I don't look, but not right now. They can't.
No, I mean they're looking at you on the screen. You look insane.
Yeah, well,
and that picture is from a while ago.
It's an older photo. Not insane. Well, you put a photo up of me yesterday on Twitter.
That's true. Of you wearing your ludicrous jumbo jet hat.
They won, didn't they?
They did. So you're gonna keep wearing. You should wear it just out in public with your sweater vest and basketball shorts.
I should. What else from Curb did you like that you thought was smart?
Oh, I just enjoyed the whole exchange with Jimmy Kimmel. That Jimmy Kimmel didn't even deny foisting him.
That was great. I also enjoyed just the way the Ayatollah was responding to everything Larry said, even if he apologizes, even if he converts.
Well, the Ayatollah in this situation is kind of like Trump.
Sort of. If he's declaring a fatwa.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, if Trump could, he would.
I don't think so. I don't think he... I mean, he was too busy celebrating with the American team at the President's Cup.
That is true. And dedicating it to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, and he was the first sitting president to do so, which I didn't realize.
Well, they're on, I think it's Thursday of the President's Cup. Obama, Bush, and Clinton were all there.
Yeah, they were.
Hanging with your main man, Phil, who really struggled to get out of a bunker at one point.
Yeah, but then Phil ended up winning that match on Friday, looking great. So, Phil will dominate the Ryder Cup next year. I'm not worried about Phil. Phil's the most accomplished, most important match play player in golf history. That's just a fact.
Has he ever won a match play tournament?
Well, like match play in these tournaments.
The most accomplished match play player who never won a match play tournament.
Team match play.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you keep telling yourself that.
I'm not telling you, though. He's been in more Ryder Cups than
that's because the man is fucking 60 years old.
Well, that just speaks to his longevity, that year on year they want him back.
I can't wait till he blows it at the Ryder Cup next year.
If he wins a major this year, he'll be guaranteed in the field.
Wins a major this year? No, he is captain's pick at best, and he will be a captain's pick, but at best he's a captain's pick.
You'll see. Phil's starting to turn his golf game. You saw it there in the FedEx playoff. He's starting to turn his golf game around. Don't be surprised if Phil getting comfortable with his new caddy doesn't just shoot the lights out next year and win 3 tournaments.
Really?
Maybe like a Tiger 2013 year where he wins a bunch of tournaments and no one saw it coming.
But people did see it coming with Tiger, and he won 5 times.
I'm just saying, Phil could have I have a gut feeling that Phil's going to have a really special 2017, laying down that marker.
Well, but by the way that you have just talked about Phil Mickelson, he has a better chance of being in memoriam at the Golf Hall of Fame next year than winning 3 tournaments.
What a terrible thing to say.
His arthritis will become too much.
The fact that he's fighting through that arthritis and donating all that money to kids to go to college.
That's not even true. That is fake news that you've heard on the internet that you think is true. Phil is better known for not giving people autographs, illegally insider trading, gambling on golf, and just being a scumbag in general.
Well, he gave me a high five.
No, he didn't. He shunned you. I actually have the video on my phone of him shunning you, and then you reached out and touched him. Then he had a terrible weekend.
He made the cut.
Yeah, terrible weekend. He was in primo position, then you touched him, and the guy couldn't recover.
I'm fired up for Phil this year. I'm fired up to see what way he played. But now golf is over, and we move on.
Golf actually starts this week.
Yeah, literally no one is watching those tournaments.
Oh, that's not true. DFS community loves swing season golf. It's where you make the most money.
Okay, great. It's like people who bet WNBA. I mean, I'm sure there is a contingent of people who enjoy it, but I'm not amongst those people.
Oh, we have the Asian swing. There's the Australian Masters coming up. There's some good, legit tournaments going to be happening.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I mean, I'm sure there are some legit tournaments, like the people who think that, oh, we're going to have the Players in March in 2 years, and it's going to be so well watched when it's going to have the worst ratings it's ever had. Like, okay, I mean, golf fans will watch it, but for real sports fans who you want to attract eyeballs to in an aging demographic, it's just no one's going to watch it right now.
Generally speaking, golf is not like a popular sport. Golf fans watch golf. That's about it. The Masters is really the only tournament that sucks people in. If the Masters are on or Tiger is somehow involved, that's it.
Oh, and I don't think I agree with that. I think Mickelson or Spieth.
Well, I mean, you can think whatever you want. Like I said, you think a lot of things, but I mean, you can just go look at ratings for things and see what happens. That's why the Wyndham from 2 years ago was like the second highest rated tournament of the year. Why? Tiger was playing on Sunday.
Well, I don't dispute the Tiger fact. I'm just saying that there are other.
No one else moves the needle. No one.
That's not true.
No one's even close.
PGA when Phil and
I'm sorry. When?
The 2014 PGA.
And what fucking year is this, you lunatic?
2014.
You think this is 2014? That makes a lot of sense.
I didn't say that.
I asked you what year is this, and you just said 2014.
No, I thought you said what year was that.
I did, and then I asked you what year is this, and then you responded 2014. You've lost your mind. You've lost your mind more than usual.
I wasn't listening closely enough then. I apologize. What other potpourri do you got?
I was going to say, I mean, hey, like at least, Jack Nicklaus, big draw. It's 1976. Big ratings for golf.
Jack Nicklaus is a big draw.
Yep. Let's get him on the course. Get all the ratings.
Hey, he plays well at that par 3 tournament every year.
Big ratings. Par 3 tournament. Jack Nicklaus is involved.
It does get good ratings.
Does it? Do you actually know that, or is that what you think?
Well, if it's on TV, it must get good ratings.
There's a lot of things on TV.
Yeah, but I mean, if they put a par 3 tournament on TV, on TSN, it's got to be, people must be watching.
You know nothing. You're worse than Jon Snow.
I know things.
No, you don't. If you were on Hollywood stars and celebrities, what do they know? Do they know things? Let's find out. You would lose. You would have lost to Bojack.
Just set the money on fire?
Yeah. But you wouldn't get the opportunity to set the money on fire because you would have just lost.
Do you think the people would like to hear my official picks for baseball playoffs, or should I not say them?
Yeah, you might as well give them out. Let's hear them.
Okay, well, I have in the National League, I am predicting that the Chicago Cubs are going to be the winners. And in the American League, I am predicting the Cleveland Indians are going to be the winners. Rematch of the World Series, and the Indians win it in 5 games. With Corey Kluber as playoffs and World Series MVP.
What happened to before the season? You said Red Sox, 100 wins. Didn't happen. Picked them to win the World Series. Now you're jumping off the bandwagon.
Yeah, I think the Astros are going to sweep them. So, no.
So, Red Sox sweep the... Is this just See, now that you haven't picked them, this is what you do. You know this, right? So you pick the Red Sox to win the World Series. And now you're not picking the Red Sox to win the World Series. Now if the playoffs have come around and it's been narrowed down. Now if the Red Sox do win the World Series, you're going to claim that you were right and you knew all along despite the fact that you didn't pick them again.
I mean, I'll deserve some credit.
No, you deserve no credit. Why don't you just go with your pick?
No, because I no longer... Well, it was my pick. I no longer hold to that pick. I feel differently.
So you can just pick... This is what you do. You just end up picking everything and then claiming credit.
That's not true.
This is the philosophy of insane person, Tim Anderson.
Tim Anderson.
That's not my name.
It is your name. It sounds like you're just it sounds like you're lamping over there.
No, I'm fine.
Do you have any Ayatollah impressions for us?
No, I don't. He's a great point about how they're all named the same. Khomeini, Khomeini, Kamani. They are, too.
That'll do it. on the Pat Mayo Experience. Remember, subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience video version on the Draftkings YouTube page. And for the audio version podcast, listen on your phone, listen on your computer, wherever, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and Audio Boom Uncut on demand whenever you want them. Plus, check out all the waiver wire rankings up on dkplaybook.com. That'll do it. I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.